of the top stories now. The Israeli military is once again targeting heavily populated civilian areas in Gaza. At least 44 Palestinians have been killed across the strip since Saturday morning. One attack on central Gaza struck tents sheltering forcibly displaced Palestinians in the grounds of a hospital. Tens of thousands of people have marched in the Spanish city of Valencia to voice their anger over the government's response to last month's flash floods. The eastern region was worst hit, and at least 220 people were killed. President Joe Biden will host President-elect Donald Trump for a post-election meeting at the White House on Wednesday. Trump did not host Biden for a sit-down after the 2020 election, despite the meeting being a long-held U.S. tradition. Well, hundreds of women have rallied in front of Washington, D.C.'s Union Station to protest against Donald Trump's election victory. Organizers say they hope to build community and power ahead of another Trump term. The first women's march was held in 2017, the day after Trump's inauguration, to protest what demonstrators called a threat to civil rights and gender equality. Krista Salumi was at Saturday's march.
The people gathered here at this rally were hoping to come out and celebrate the first woman president of the United States. Instead, they've gathered to commiserate Kamala Harris's loss. For them, reproductive rights was one of the top issues of this election cycle. They were gathering and organizing before the election to get women out to vote, and Democrats were really counting on them, women in particular, women voters, to put her over the top and win this election. When the votes were counted, however, while Kamala Harris did win a majority of women voters, her majority actually was less than that of Joe Biden back in 2020. So less women percentage-wise supported her than Joe Biden in 2020. That's something that many people here are still grappling with, but they're also vowing not to give up the fight, especially when it comes to women's rights. They are vowing to organize from day one. They're planning another major march on the 18th and saying that this will not be, will be an animating factor for them going forward. Kristen Salumi, Al Jazeera, Washington, D.C.
Well, women voters played a pivotal role in electing the next U.S. president. Let's break down some of the statistics now. Well, according to AP VoteCast election polling, 53% of women voted for Democratic candidate Kamala Harris. Republican Donald Trump gained 46% of the women's vote. Among white women, Trump had majority support with 53%. And among black women, Kamala Harris had 89% support. And when it came to the Latino women's vote, Kamala Harris had 60% support. Well, Rina Shah is a political strategist and commentator and former senior congressional aide to former Republican Jeff Miller. She believes there were many women who secretly voted for Trump.
American women are not a monolith in any way. We're very complex as a segment of American society that is greater in share than our male counterparts. Indeed, American women went to the polls this election day with numerous issues top of mind. These are kitchen table issues like economy, immigration, crime, and of course, abortion was on the minds of millions of American women, given the overturn of Roe versus Wade. Now, that was done by Trump's appointed Supreme Court justices. And since that overturn just a couple of years ago, we have seen women galvanized around the issue of abortion across the country, coast to coast. When abortion has appeared on the ballot, Republicans have not fared well. So moving into election day for this general election, the sense would have been that Trump would suffer again based on that issue. But what I saw women do was, again, prioritize other kitchen table issues when it came to essentially what they were going to do on election day. And these women included independent and center-right women as well. That was a segment that Harris had hoped she would capture based entirely on the issue of abortion and reproductive rights, care, and access. Exit polls, I believe, are still, some of them, polls that we